I mean, wicked can just be more than just a word, a descriptor word. Like it can be an
An
actual
adjective.
noun.
You,
Barding. Ah.
these
I don't know
things.
any of these things besides
How
Bree's
do you
hockey
how do you
journey.
We got our first hater the other day.
shout out to my dad?
That made me mad. Now I'm triggered.
Oh, and god damn it. What a pro wants. What a pro needs. Folks, welcome to episode 75 of the Bread Loves Hockey podcast. It's Bread and Dean today. Just the great twosome. I don't like.
You're gonna break out in song.
We didn't prepare anything today, did we? We'll have to do a song next time, I guess.
Okay.
Well, that'll be the outro music this time.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, episode 75. Thanks for being with us, and there's been a fair bit that's happened since we last recorded. The World Juniors ended, and had a lot of change in the standings for the league, and lots of trade rumors, lots of good stuff going on. So it's an interesting time to be watching.
Lots of deferred money.
Yeah, Dean is referring to the Frank Vatrano extension he just received, which includes deferred payments for after he retires in an effort to alleviate some of the tax implications, because I think the plan would be once he retires, he would live outside of California, and so he wouldn't be taxed at California rates on that income.
Right. It's kind of what like what Seth Jarvis did.
Mm-hmm.
To a lesser extent. Well, Jarvis did less than what this is. It's kind of funny because that one, like, there was a lot of media talk around that one, and this one seemed to have gotten less because now we're like, oh, we know what this is.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're just going to be seeing more and more teams try to do this, and I think in this case it could really benefit the player too,
Right,
especially
because
if
he
you're
got
living in California.
3 years, $6 million per year, which is like if you didn't do the deferred thing, I don't think Frank Petrano is getting a 6 million AAV contract like on the open market. Like no one's gonna pay him that. I don't think.
Probably not. Well, probably not.
It's a lot of money for a Frank Petrano type.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at his points this year, but I think that's about the upper level for him.
Yeah. So the way it's gonna work is 10 years from now, he'll make 900,000 a year for 10 years, and this also helps the Ducks because they're gonna be the cap hit will be 4.57 million instead of 6 million AAV, and then I know they were like on the 32 Thoughts podcast they're discussing like whether other players would do this or not, but like the money now versus money later thing, and like money now is more valuable. It's like players like McDavid probably aren't going to be doing this kind of thing, but
Yeah, I mean,
players like Vatrano, like right in that kind of level, they might do it, but it seems like people aren't expecting this to just become the norm for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, I do think there's some negatives to it, like just anytime you're messing with like the contract structure, I feel like even if you have like a really good agent, you still might not fully understand the benefits as the player that you're getting. You're like, do I feel like I'm not, getting treated fairly or whatever? Like, I'm not sure it's always like that, but I could see that being a possibility among other reasons where it's just like it doesn't always make the most sense for one party or the other to do it. Like the savings are minimal for the cap hit for the team, or it's just like it doesn't really benefit the player to defer like a very slight amount of money to save very slight amount on the cap.
Right. I mean, because Vatrano's made like I don't know, 20 million in his career so far or something like that, 10 or 20, I don't know. So he's like, he'll be fine when he retires, but then 10 years from now, just making 900K a year for 10 years, he's like, why not? It's like, sure, I could have made money up front and invested it, but like, I'm just getting a steady income for a decade.
Oh yeah, I mean, you never know how long you're going to be in the league. Like something unfortunate can happen to anyone where you get a bad hit and it's just an injury you're not able to come back from.
I don't know how much that applies to this type of contract because he could have also signed like a 5-year deal, and it's the same thing. If he gets hurt, he still gets the money.
Sure, and he's 30, so he's
Yeah.
not anything. He's not too far into his career. It looks like he's earned $17,266,402 career earnings according to Cap Wages. So Dean was pretty on the money with that one.
Yeah, well, I had heard it like not too long ago, so it's one of those things. I'm like, I should remember this.
Well, you did pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, we'll see if these kind of extensions, signings happen more frequently. I don't know, and if maybe the league doesn't like it, like I could see something coming up in the next CBA if they don't think it's effective, but I don't expect that.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not like cap circumvention or anything. Like a couple comments I'm reading, how they explained it helps make sense of it, where it's basically instead of thinking of it as 3 years, 18 million, think of it as 3 years, 13.71 million, where the Ducks take 4.71 of that money and invest it for Vatrano at a fixed return, and then that rate of return is determined by the CBA. And then also, Puckpedia apparently has a Reddit account, and they had like posted this whole thing. But the TLDR is that it's not considered cap circumvention because the Vatrano is arguably making less, where 900K will be worth less in 2035 than it would be if he got it on July 1st, 2025. The CBA has an interest rate set that defines what a dollar deferred today would be worth in the future, and that rate will reduce the cap hit. So basically, since it's worth less in the future, he owes less, or like he's taxed less on it, essentially.
Yep. So there is that risk to the player, but I think he would have not earned that much on the open market if he didn't structure a contract like this. Probably, maybe not for sure. Like you don't know how valuable some other teams think he is, but that's probably how it would have went. So good for.
Yeah. And when the Jarvis one happened, there was the same discussion. Like, oh, now everyone's gonna do it, and I mean, now more people have done it just because I don't think a lot of people actually read the CBA or whatever and maybe realized it was a thing or thought it would be effective, and then they're like, oh, it actually worked for Carolina. Maybe we can do it. So
yeah.
now that there's like multiple examples, maybe we'll see it more, but maybe not.
Summertime is probably when we're gonna see how much that comes into play.
Well, I don't know because this year's been weird with like big trades happening during this season that you don't normally have, like Truba. I feel like that type of trade you don't normally get in the middle of a season, and now I guess we can talk about the Canucks where they. Elliot Friedman said there was options that either they trade one of them, none of them, or both of JT Miller and Elias Pettersson.
But I don't see how both works, and I think
we can't pick a favorite.
I think you absolutely.
You both caused problems. We're getting rid of $20 million of our centers in the middle of the season, and it'll be fine.
When they're are they in a playoff spot right now? Or are they like on the cusp?
I think they're still in one.
They are in the second wild card spot as of today, Wednesday the 8th. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's a big risk. Like Pius Suter is going to be your like 2C. That's
you would trade for another center. But
you would have to.
For those who don't know, there's just lots of talks that the JT Miller taking time away was kind of related to this. It sounds like maybe and then Pettersson and Miller just I guess hate each other. And, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it seems like it's been affecting the on ice product. I mean, maybe we only know so much as fans, but obviously they haven't had the same success that they had last year, and they've had good stretches, but then they also just have really long stretches where they're just kind of struggling. And I think they're 3-6-13 1 right now, something like that, in their last 10. They're actually playing tonight.
They are
Oh, here we go.
3, 3, and 4.
3, 3, and 4. Okay, yeah, that's
Also, I mean, like we talked about this last
tough.
year, where like they were shooting 15% or whatever and getting good goaltending, so that obviously helps. But it was even the start of the year, we're like, oh, well, this isn't gonna last, and then they were able to make it kind of last the whole season, had a decent playoff run, but it's like finally catching up to them, I guess.
Well, that's why I didn't pick them in my preseason bracket this year, and I'm hoping that comes true. But I don't know. They're like
Yeah,
bouncing
instead you had
around there with the
Nashville.
Flames. Well, okay, yeah.
Did you have Nashville? I don't know if you were one of the believers. Was I one of the believers?
You were, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
But I feel like I wasn't that much of a believer. I feel like I had like wild card. I got.
Might as well check.
Yeah.
While Dean's checking, I'll also briefly mention I didn't even notice this, but sounds like Dylan Ferguson has signed a deal with the Minnesota Wild, 1 year deal. So that's cool. Former Golden Knight and Ottawa Senator, who set a record, I think, for most saves in their first career start or something like that with the Sens, or maybe just in the league. I can't remember. Something like that, but it was cool.
We both had the Predators as the 3 seed playing the Avs.
Yep.
And while
They're
I've
playing
been here,
better, but they're not gonna get there, I don't think.
no, they are. Well, they passed Chicago and San Jose, so that's good for them, I guess. Good for some sanity.
Going into the season, that would not have been a good benchmark for how the team's doing. Like,
No.
oh well, as long as they're better than those two,
Yeah,
it'll
like,
be
oh,
good.
you're 6 points behind the Ducks and 9 points behind Utah. Oh, that's probably not good.
Oh, that's either something really weird happened or we're not
8
good.
points, I guess.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's what's going on with Nashville.
While I'm in the Google sheet, hat tricks haven't been updated in a while, but last we had updated it. Brendan and I are tied for second.
Yeah,
First.
I figured Gifford wasn't updating it, and I knew, I was like, I should go in there and update it, but I just haven't. Yeah, I think I'll probably do it tomorrow.
Well, the last one is Owen, no questions, but since then he has also forgotten to submit questions again.
Oh my goodness.
I did update the pot though. It's up to $104 now. $3 coming from Owen.
Yeah, three missed days from Owen and 1 from Gifford, so that's too bad.
And then past the cup, we got Brendan in first, Owen with 1 point behind for second, and then I'm in third, Zach in fourth, and Gifford in last with 1 point from Nashville.
Hey, there you go. This is definitely not current, though. I know Montreal lost to Chicago, and then Chicago lost to the Rangers. So I think they had it for a little bit, and I think they just lost to somebody too. I think Dallas. So I think Dallas has it now. This is just based off my memory. We did not.
Someone will update it someday, maybe.
I'll do it tomorrow. Who even has Dallas? Do I? No.
Not me.
Oh, Gifford does. Oh, well, okay. If he has a couple extra points, no big deal.
Yeah.
It's Dean and Owen that I'm worried about. So, sorry we don't have an actual update on the true numbers at this stage, but because we are basically halfway through the regular season, we're not like quite there, but we are very close. Next week, I think we'll officially be halfway.
I wrote that too. I was like halfway through the season. Do you have any thoughts or surprises? I mean, I guess there's the obvious ones like Nashville sucking and Washington. You're the optimist of the group, and I'm the pessimist.
Yeah, I'm thinking Minnesota, Winnipeg, and Dean's
I'm like, man, how garbage is Nashville?
Nashville, New York Rangers, Bruins.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Bruins are like,
Minnesota.
I expected them to be not the best. I think I said like the first month or so, they'd be like a 500 or 600 points percentage. But 523, I was like 650 by now. It would be what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
and Montreal is at a 513 right now, so that's how
Yeah.
close things are. Just
Well, because
one one
they've been
percentage
popping
point.
off. They went on this. Wait, let me pull up their schedule because their road trip was kind of crazy.
It was a heater. It was what, like Tampa, Colorado, Vegas,
See,
somebody else,
they beat
Washington,
Florida, and then they
Florida.
beat Tampa, and then they beat Vegas, and then they also beat Colorado, but they lost to the Blackhawks and Columbus. You know, just
Mm-hmm.
how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I think there was some broadcast uh, that I was watching the other day that actually said that Vegas was on a win streak, but they were not because they had just lost to Montreal, and I was like, oops.
Mm.
I don't remember what game it might have been I think it was the overtime for the Canadians versus the Canucks the other day because that was a good game.
Yeah, Montreal's tied with Ottawa for points now.
Mm-hmm. I think Ottawa's played a couple less games, right?
One less.
One. Oh, well, jeez, that's Owen. Watch out! Oh, see, I was wearing my Sens gear at the Thunder game I went to the other day, and now I'm wearing Habs gear for the recent stretch. So I'm all over the
There you
place.
go.
I'm not really pushing for Montreal. Like I'd much prefer Ottawa to get the spot, just to clarify my stance and everything. But
Right. Well, we still
that's
got
what I'm
one
wearing too.
point on Tampa, but they have 5 games in hand.
I know. I'm like waiting for the hammer to drop on that, but actually Tampa just had a bit of a skid recently too. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, their
so
points percentage is still way better
I think they're a better team for sure.
than the
Like
Bruins. Yeah,
it's just it is what it like.
even Columbus, we only are .011 ahead of them points percentage wise. Like the Bruins are not good. We've just played the most games.
Yeah, which that was kind of like what the Devils were doing for a while, and they're still a little bit ahead of some teams, but they've definitely
Yeah,
picked up their game where the Bruins have not done
right. I mean, I still think we're a playoff team though.
that. I can't. I'm not gonna say yes or no right now because I don't feel very good
If I
about.
wasn't a Bruins fan, I probably wouldn't think we were. But you just gotta watch the team every night. They're not that bad. They're kind of bad.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, you would
Remember
you would
when
know more.
the Avs were really bad, and then now they've won 8 of their last 10, and now they're the first wild card.
Blackwood is like has like a 941 save percentage since coming over to the Colorado. It like
Yeah, you're trading your 2 starting goalies for to actually help.
that's what like people are like fans are always like, come on, you can trade for like just get better goalies now. Like we know these guys suck, and then it never happens. And then it's like, wait a minute, this is like an actual like fan trade. Like they would
Well, also
actually
San
say
Jose's
do
like,
that.
Blackwood, you're kind of ruining our tank.
Yeah.
We need some
So
worse goalies.
we really have been winning a little too much, and
Yeah.
that's not happening anymore. They have really, although they beat the Tampa the other day, they did lose to Vegas though. So we swept the season series with San Jose and Anaheim this year,
There you go.
which is pretty fun. It's a little sad that the season series between San Jose's over already. I do like playing them at least one more time in
Mm.
March and April to really get those last minute numbers up because it's always like you need a couple easy wins towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
But oh well.
But Celebrini's looking good. Like they've got some good prospects.
Oh yeah, like I think everything that they've been doing over the past year plus has been making the team better in the short and long term, which as a Vegas fan is too bad because I think they're doing the rebuild the best way that you can. I don't always know if rebuilding is like the best way to turn around a team, but I think they're doing it pretty effectively. They obviously benefit from having the first overall pick one year, and Will Smith was what, second or fourth? I can't remember. I want to say fourth maybe, but yeah,
Top
that
five.
lottery help is definitely in your favor too. So
Yeah.
that's good. Red Wings have also been bouncing up since the McClellan hiring. I mean, they had a pretty good stretch.
Exact 500 points percentage. 18-18-4.
In which, yeah, I guess so. They're still not a great team, but they
Even
could be
10,
if
10-2 at home, 8-2 away.
Wow, jeez. That I
Now
feel like
that's
the
a
Islanders
hockey
are like
team.
that too.
Yeah.
Kind of just mediocre everywhere.
40 points in 40 games.
We'll
Think 82
see.
points can get you into the playoffs? Probably not. Well, maybe this year. There's been some bad. Like every team's been slumping. Like Florida is only at 50 points.
Yeah. It's. I don't think 82 is quite enough. I feel like you need at least 90. Maybe not,
probably.
but we will. We'll see how as we keep going. How things are trending. And
So any of these teams that are on streaks, like the Canadians, do you think they're turning things around? Or do you think it's just a streak?
the Canadians, I do not believe in the long term success for this season. Like
Do you think
I don't think
percentage-
this is a sustainable stretch. They have had they have had moments where they look really strong. They've been scoring a lot of goals in the games that they've won. Lane Hudson has been great. I would not be surprised if he was at least a Calder finalist, maybe even a Calder winner. It's tough with Celebrini too because he's been so good. And Michkov, like there's been a lot of really strong rookie candidates. But anyways, with Montreal, I feel like the bones aren't like all the way there where they'll be able to hold on to this, but I mean,
Yeah.
they could prove me wrong. I just don't. I'm just not there yet because this is like the first time this whole season where we've like seen any sort of like sustained stretches from them. I feel like it's just one of those like, all right, this is the time of year where this team goes on a streak. Like you see it with some of the other bad teams, like Buffalo manages to do it every year, and some of these other teams just find
Ottawa
a good
too,
stretch.
but now they're on their losing streak because Allmark is week to week.
Yeah,
Do
that's
you think Ottawa has a better chance than Montreal?
yeah, I do.
So like if you're looking at the wild card standings, like Ottawa down, what team do you think has the best chance? So not Columbus. Well, Columbus is a wild card. I don't think they're gonna stay, but not counting Pittsburgh either. Like Ottawa, Montreal, Detroit, Philly, New York, Buffalo.
It's a rough section at the bottom.
Yeah, the Rangers just done. Unless Shesterkin can figure it out.
like okay, they're gonna need a major shakeup, and even if they do make one, does it help the team? Like I'm not sure with already how kind of weird this locker room has to be by now in the season. I feel like it might not be good to like ship out Zibanejad or like you never know how a trade like that is gonna go. So I'm gonna lean towards just like the Sens. I think playing it safe.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't see like the Islanders, the Sabres. I mean, obviously the Rangers have the talent, but it's just like this isn't the year. I don't know. I don't know about Detroit. I just don't know. Like, I just don't have it. I just don't have it all the way. I don't like their
They've
decor.
won their last 5.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
That's the longest active win streak right now.
Toronto is on a 5-game win streak.
Yeah.
Dallas is on a 5-game win streak.
Yeah.
4-game win streaks for
Pittsburgh
Edmonton
is on a
and
three-game overtime loss streak.
LA. Gosh, that's infuriating as a fan. Like, can we win one of these goddamn
Bruins,
overtime games?
I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, went to like 7 or 8 overtime games in a row. They
I
didn't lose
definitely
them
remember
all.
talking about that. It's like,
I was like, this is crazy.
all right. I mean, I guess we're getting points.
Yeah. Like we'd be up by a goal or two in the third. I'm like, well, this game's going to overtime.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I guess I gotta stay up a little bit longer. The Vegas game was at 10:30 last night. Those are always a struggle. I went to bed during the second period, but it was the Sharks, so I was like, I'm really not concerned.
Not missing much.
No, and that was a good choice. I assume you watched the game against
Bruins
Edmonton,
game.
where
Yeah, I saw that you put that.
yeah, so
Um,
Zadorov runs into Stuart Skinner when he's trying to go towards the net to get the puck or to shoot the puck, and then he kind of just like doesn't bail out at the last second like you're supposed to, and barrels right into him and hits him in the back of the head with his elbow, I think, or something like, or he just knocks. I think he just knocks.
I don't know
into
what
him.
part contacted, but yeah. Who was in that again? What's his name?
Skinner.
Skinner. Yep. Skinner was in net. Lost his helmet. He looked fine. The concussion spotters took him out. He ended up coming back.
Oh, he
But
did come back.
yeah. But
Mm.
yeah, that game, there were like two different calls where I'm like, man, the Bruins fans are like really on one tonight because they were booing when that guy called goal interference. I'm like, that was like the most blatant goalie interference.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, I feel like fans just boo penalties no matter what, and it
yeah,
does infuriate me too because
but
I'm
like
like, come on, like, what do
it
you
was a
expect?
lot of booing. Like I don't know. And there was
Yeah,
another one where
that's crazy.
the same game, Marchand had the puck and got like just like body checked open ice off it, just like shoved, like not a cross check or anything, just like a clean push, and the fans were booing. I'm like, there's nothing there. Like I don't know, just especially bad last night. It was
Mm,
funny.
yeah, there was like a little bit of a cross check, I guess, from one of the Oilers defensemen who was coming in on Zadorov, but I mean, it wasn't enough to
Oh
cause
no, he like
contact into
so like
Skinner at all.
Zadorov is coming down the right side and turning towards the net, and he gets pushed in like towards the boards, and then turns still just keeps turning.
Yeah,
And, like the push did nothing. Nothing. Zadorov like what 6'6",
it
two
did not
fifty. Yeah, he's a
have an
big
effect.
boy.
Yeah,
Oh, and
that
then Nesson had
that's
like
rough.
the speed tracker, and like yeah, he was going like 22 miles an hour.
Oh
Just
God,
I'm like that cannot feel good.
I didn't even know Zadorov could hit 22.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So sorry for Skinner.
Yeah,
Uh,
luckily he's okay.
yeah, mm, that's no good. And I also noticed when I was watching it that none of the Oiler players like did anything, which I was a little
Yeah,
surprised. Like I'm not usually the one who's like, yeah, I think you always have to hit the other team if they do touch anybody, but like I'm just a little surprised that
you
there
could just
was
let him do that. Yeah.
like okay, yeah, this guy just went right into your goalie, and then you weren't real. I mean, you just really didn't do anything to Zadorov. At least like
Yeah.
get in get in his face, get like physical, but
Yeah, like I agree with you where it's like a clean hit and it's like results in injury or something and it's like you don't need to fight over that. Like it's not
it
like it
just
was
happens. Yeah,
intentional. It wasn't a dirty play or anything. It's just like a hockey play, I guess, gone wrong if you want to call it that.
right. Yeah. So that's too bad. We'll see how. I guess the Oilers in general have been not very physical this year. Maybe they're just trying to keep themselves in better shape for the playoffs. Who knows?
There you go.
Um, but I haven't really watched a ton of their games this year. I think Vegas has only played them once so far this season.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean I've watched like odd games, but it's always tough when you're an East Coast fan.
True.
So
That's why I keep saying Mountain Time's the perfect one because their games start at 5. Like if it
uh,
was California, then it's like 4 o'clock games. You're not home yet normally.
yeah, no, I am definitely envious of the Mountain Time lifestyle.
Best hockey watching
It
time.
sounds pretty good. I mean, even for
Even
like
like with the
football,
weekend ones,
can't
I'm
be
like
too bad.
11 a.m. I'm like 11 a.m. works for me. Yeah, for football too, 11 a.m. start time. I'm like this is perfect.
Yeah, that's good because like usually on football Sundays, I'm like ready to watch football by 11 a.m. I'm like, oh, 2 more hours, okay.
And then even
But
like Monday night football, it's like
6?
6:30. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's way better than 8. Because those Monday night and Sunday night games are always ending at midnight, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
Maybe not midnight, but like at least 11:30 usually. Which, yeah, it's tough. But that if that was 9:30, it's like you could still do activities and stuff after this. Oh,
Yeah.
that's too bad. Maybe one day, but not today. I did. I don't know why I thought of it, but I did mention earlier that I went to go see the Thunder game the other day. I was showing you guys some pictures while I was there about
Yeah. When you
how
in
it
your
was going.
Ottawa gear, in a
Yeah,
absolute blowout.
it was a destructive game, uh, for the Lions because it was already 3-1 with like in like 5 minutes or 6 minutes in or something like that. Uh,
Both the
and
goalie or goalie got chased.
yeah, he got chased in the first, and the fans were cheering when he got yanked out, which I was like, oh man, when your home fans are cheering for you to be benched, that's not good. Not a good
Wait, so
first start.
where was the game?
It was in Adirondack in Glens Falls. So
wait, but the Thunder lost or they? I thought they were winning.
yeah, we lost.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a blowout in a good way.
No, no, I was pretty devastated. Not devastated because I'm like, they
Yeah.
haven't been good this year.
Right.
They just lost so many guys to either getting promotions from how they played last year to they have like both of our starting or like our main tandem last for most of last season are both playing in Utica right now. It's like, oh, so we've got so that yeah, that the one guy who started, um, I don't. I looked at their stats before the game, and I'm like, oof, both of these guys are not like anything to write home about. I think it was like an 896 save percentage for the starter, and like similar range for the backup who ended up going in after the
Honestly, like
first.
in the NHL now, like this year, that average is like a 900 save percentage.
Yeah, yeah, but it's still, yeah. I mean, it is below, but it's not that much. You're right.
Yeah.
And I think he only had played like 12. He'd only started like 12 games, so far. Because I know Poulter and Broder played for the Thunder at least at points in this season.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it was rough. 6-1 after the first period. They ended up losing 7-2, I believe.
You stay for the whole game?
We did stay for the whole game, although it was
Nice.
like 5 minutes left, and Bree was like, "I just want the game to be over." I'm like,
Beat that
"Yeah,
Adirondack traffic.
yeah, we really didn't have to worry about that. We,
Everyone else had already left.
yeah, they're a good port. I mean,
Well, how percent full was the arena when the game started, and how percent full was it at the end of the game?
so I didn't take any like good photo pictures, but I want to say like maybe 90% full, at the start of the game, and like 75 or so at the end. I
That's
mean,
more than I would have thought.
maybe I'm overestimating it a little bit, and it's been let's see, about a week, or no, like 5 days, but um, yeah, it was not nearly as full as it was when we started.
Yeah. Well,
But
what
that
percent
happens.
of the 75% were not Thunder fans?
Oh, there probably weren't many. I don't think
They don't have
ECHL fans travel too much.
travel. Well,
I
where are
have
the
seen
Lions
some.
from?
Trois Rivières,
Mm,
Canada.
yeah, it's
So,
kind of far.
like, it's not crazy, but I think if you're a fan, you kind of just wait and see them when they're at home.
Yeah.
They so they played that game on Friday night, and then they played in Trois Rivières Saturday and Sunday, I think, and they lost both of those games too. So they got swept in the 3-game stretch there, and now they got Orlando. The Solar Bears are in town for
I knew
3
that
nights.
name.
Yeah, they have some cool jerseys. So maybe we'll see one of those games, but
There you go.
they probably aren't going to win.
It's hard when your team sucks to want to go.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, they had good pizza, so we
There you
tried
go.
that for the first time. I was like, hey, this is
There
actually
you go.
pretty good. So, you know, it's still a fun time, even if it's not a great game. It's like just enjoy the atmosphere, see some hockey, hang out. For like, I don't know. Actually, Bree bought the tickets this time, so but they were probably like $20 or less.
Yeah.
So, if you want to watch some hockey, but you don't want to pay NHL prices, go to your local AHL, ECHL, junior hockey, that sort of stuff.
I was actually just looking. So on
College.
Monday, it was day of Florida playing in Colorado. This is NHL, Panthers, Avs. And the tickets were $43.
Hey.
So that's tempting.
Well, maybe you can just go to an NHL game then.
Yeah, if you live close enough, just check same day tickets.
Are those like resale tickets, or are those like just I
I don't
assume,
know.
I mean, I don't know how it works.
I don't even know if they would be resale or I don't know if they sell out every game.
The Avs, I feel like they're pretty good. I don't know if they're like 100%.
Yeah. I can't even imagine how cheap tickets were before they won the cup. It was like they were not. It was not a hockey city.
Yeah. Yeah, they had some rough, like 2016, 17, that kind of stretch was.
Do you remember the
before
memes
that was pretty rough.
whenever a team got eliminated from the playoffs and it's the Scooby Doo pulling off the mask and it was the Avs logo underneath?
Yeah. I love that meme format. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, at the end of the first, the Avs were tied 1-1 with Chicago.
Tied with Chicago?
Yep.
It's early.
Speaking about the Avs
That was
sucking.
fine away.
Yeah.
Juuso Parssinen. Okay. Caps are up 1-0.
Well, maybe I'll go when the Stars come to town on a Saturday afternoon. That could be a fun.
There you go. Interdivisional game, always good. Good
Yeah.
action. Maybe it would be a little more expensive, but probably
Could
not
be.
too bad.
Oh, but the Bruins play at 1 that day. Bruins fans.
That sounds like a good game too. You'll have to go to that one.
Yeah. So you had put the Matthews McDavid recreate the McDonald's commercial. Maybe I should watch that before.
Have you ever seen either of them before?
I haven't seen the new one, but I think I've seen the original. And let me refresh my memory.
Oh, so that's why, because I saw there were like tweets that Austin and McDavid like tweeted at each other about, and they were like, it was like egging themselves on, like kind of thing, and I was like, what is this referring to? And now I get it. It was it was promotional material for the new McDonald's ad. So there we go. I think they did a pretty good job of it. I guess we'll just put the links in the description, I guess, so you can watch them yourselves. But they were pretty fun, so I thought I'd throw that in there.
Did you watch the other ones?
I watched the chess one.
I haven't actually watched the chess one yet. I'm watching The Odd Couple.
Okay, I'll watch that one then. So Dean, you mentioned or earlier you mentioned it that the Kraken have placed Daniel Sprong on waivers.
I did in fact mention that.
And I figured I'd mention it here. I think that's slightly interesting. I mean, he's bounced around a bit, but I do think a team might take a look. I don't know, maybe, Detroit, because I think I think I did this last time. I don't think he's ever played in Detroit, but could be an example. Just some teams that could use a little bit more depth. I think that's a lot of teams, at least you gotta
Well,
fit him under the cap.
this Buffalo fan says, I want us to claim him, not because I think he'd be good, but because I want the front office to show any signs of life.
Hmm. Yeah, the Rangers
Oh, he
did
was on the
that.
Wings. He
Oh,
was
he
on the
was
Red Wings.
okay. I'm
But this
psyching
guy
myself
says
out.
to think some Wings fans were pissed he was gone.
Hmm. It must be another player that I thought was on there that never was. Um.
And yes, some people were saying that maybe it's time for him to like go play in Europe or something. Because I mean, I don't know what his family situation is, but it can't be easy. Just get move around that often.
No. Um. And yeah, he's. I mean, who knows if like he has family still in the Netherlands or in somewhere else in Europe. Like that stuff factors into when you're a veteran and you've been bouncing around a little bit. It's like okay, maybe this is my last or my I got a couple more years left in me to do this before I stop uprooting my family every time I have to move to a new city, which that doesn't
Yeah.
always happen. Like sometimes I just stay because it's too difficult, but then it's like you're away from your family, and that's not a fun
Hmm.
situation.
Well, the whole thing with
We'll see what happens with him.
David Carl, was that his name?
David Carl or Clarkson.
What was the coach of Team USA?
Oh, yeah, I
Junior
think it's Carl's or something like that. Carl's? No, I think it's just Carl's.
David Carl. Yeah,
Carl.
I said that.
There you
That's
go.
what I said, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of like the debate with David Carl, where I mean, 2 years in a row, Team USA wins the World Juniors. David Carl being the coach, and he coaches Denver University. But people were like, well, maybe NHL teams are gonna start looking at him, but he's got a family and he's been at DU for like 20 years or something. So it's like sometimes you're like making 800K a year, and you're like, I don't need an extra $500,000 or $600,000 to coach the Blackhawks or whatever. Like I'm
Yeah.
happy. Like they're not gonna fire him there at Denver.
No, because
He's got job security. He's making a decent amount of money. He's like he's got his roots planted there. Like you have to get like a really good offer to wanna to go to the NHL, I think.
yeah, if you don't like have and if this is like your only head coaching experience or you don't know if you could perform well at the NHL level and there's a way less job security, like oh maybe they just let you go after 1 year and it's like okay well now probably no other team is gonna the NHL is gonna pick me up and now DU's probably hired somebody else and it's like yeah I can totally understand why you wouldn't want to risk it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like Dave Hackstall was. He coached in North Dakota for a long time, and they made it to the Frozen Four so many times. And then he came to the NHL, coached Philly for a bit, didn't go well. Coached Seattle. It's like doesn't always translate.
No, not always. And you never. I mean, it of course depends on the situation that you're put in, but
Yeah.
it's on the coach to get the most out of the team. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a tough job for sure. Um, but
And
yeah, I'll quickly mention and then we'll jump into the World Junior stuff since we already teased it. But on the waiver sort of claim segment, I guess Kaliev was also claimed by the Rangers off waivers, so Los Angeles loses him. Good to see them, I guess, trying to do something like at least that's adding pieces to your locker room rather than taking them away, which is mostly what they've been doing this year. I mean, I guess they added Vakanainen, um,
oh, that was a trade, not an addition.
yeah,
I think.
they didn't gain additional players. They still lost their captain in exchange for him. So you're
Right.
right, not an addition, but it's good to see them at least trying stuff. I think Kaliev could be a good player in another on another team because I think he's been pretty good in Los Angeles, but they've had so many good players. It's like they've just had a really strong year, so they might not be able to have a spot for him. And I'm sure they didn't want him to get claimed, but that's the risk you take. So, anyways, that's what we have for that segment, I guess, and we'll we'll jump into the World Juniors recap. So Dean did mention USA wins back-to-back gold, first time that the Americans have ever done that, which was cool to see.
And they did it in overtime.
The golden goal belongs to Teddy Stiga. First goal scored for the tournament. I'd say that's the best one to score your first on. So
awesome.
really cool moment. They win in overtime versus Finland. Finland was up 3-1 in the second period and gave up two late-ish goals, like 2 minutes to go and like 40 seconds to go or something like that in the second period. And then it goes to overtime 3-3. So, very interesting game. Fun playoff bracket or final bracket. In general, we're talking about the predictions for the quarterfinals. So we had the whole actual tournament happened between then and now. So it was pretty interesting. And then Czechia gets the bronze medal over Sweden. So Sweden went undefeated in the pools section or whatever you want to call it. What do they call it? Is that what it's called? Play-in round? I don't know, like what the official term is. But they go undefeated in that, and then they lose a couple heartbreakers, and then you don't medal. Like it's they've had a unsuccessful run for a long time, and I think they only have one gold medal, like in the history of their appearances in the tournament. So that's tough. But
Sweden's not the only heartbroken team.
No.
Canada again does not have a very good. Poor Kazakhstan getting relegated.
That was a close game too. They almost beat Germany, but yeah, Canada the more interesting story, losing to Czechia with a late goal in the third period.
Again.
Yeah.
Another late goal against the same team, right?
Yeah, they lost to Czechia last year as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, I mean, obviously Canadians aren't very happy, but they're mostly not happy with the coaching and the management because there was this discussion about them not practicing, like canceling practices, and also like this is not the right coach for the players, and even the announcers were saying how it seemed like Team Canada was just playing a little scared, like they were afraid the same outcome would happen, and obviously it did.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the general manager for the club got criticized pretty heavily because there were like 4 first-round draft picks in the 2024 draft that were eligible that did not get selected for the team that were snubbed. And
do you see,
I think would have brought a lot of
I forget what team it
goals.
was tweeting about like, oh, this matchup tonight is going to feature like these two players, and they were both like essentially snubs of Canada. And then as Team Canada was losing to Czechia, they're like, oh, and this Canadian player scores this big goal in this game. So like,
that's I mean that's
kinda,
sticking it to them.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny though. I predicted that Canada would lose. So I was like, oh my god, yes! Like I did it. I got all 4 of the quarterfinal matchups correct, and then we can have the debate on whether or not it's a perfect bracket because so we were saying our medalists, our finalists. This was last week with Owen, and I went last, and all I said was USA wins gold and Czechia wins bronze, but I didn't specify who got silver or who won the Sweden-Finland matchup. I don't know why I didn't say it, but I never picked...
you would have said Sweden, that's why.
No, I would have said Finland. I was thinking Finland, and I just never said it. So that's the story, and so I got a perfect bracket, technically.
All right. We also had the longest shootout in World Junior history.
14 rounds.
Yeah.
That was what the Czechia versus was that was the gold medal or
The,
the
bronze
bronze
medal,
medal
yeah,
game, right?
versus Sweden.
Yeah. So pretty interesting finishes to both of the medal games going into beyond regulation.
Yeah, I wanted to see for the shootout. Do you know how many of how many goals were scored? If it was like no one could score, or if it just kept matching like every like they love those shootouts where like you go like 7 rounds with no goal and then someone scores in the eighth round and then the other guy matches and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, it
yeah.
keeps going.
I think it
'Cause I didn't
was.
watch the game.
Yeah, I didn't see. I didn't see it. I think I. Nah, I don't even remember how it went. All I know is that Saleh was
Okay,
the one who won it.
we got Czechia scored one, and then Sweden scored two, and then Czechia scored two. So it must have been, yeah, I don't know what the rounds were, but I don't know if it was like a 1-1 match, and then yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure there's a full video of
We'll
the
also
entire
have Game
shootout.
Center can for the highlights. All right, let's see.
Yeah, we'll take a look.
So it's like a it's a 3-minute highlight video, and once you get to a minute and a half, the other half is the shootout.
Oh,
So the first half of the video is the game, and the second half is the shootout.
that's crazy.
All right, so round two, Czechia scores and Sweden scores. No one scores in the first round. Um, let's see, and then it looks like we skip a bit here.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't even know they had drones filming this.
they definitely had drones, and I think they had people that like cameramen that came out onto the ice during goals too, or like goal celebrations too. Or maybe those were just drones too, but I thought that they were people, or at least that they've done that in the past.
Wow. So no goals first round, both match round two. No goals all the way till round 13.
Oh,
Sweden scores, Czechia matches.
yeah, wow. And then Czechia wins it in round 14.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So another six. I mean, yeah, the Czechs have been performing really well. I mean, Pasta won with the Czech team in that international tournament. I don't remember what that was. The Worlds or something? Is that what it's called?
Maybe. Not the World Cup, 'cause that's different. Not
Yeah,
the
that's
World
different.
Juniors, certainly.
It's got World in it. I'm sure of it. And so they won that, and then Czechia. I think they got bronze last year, or no, did they get silver last year? Um, they've just had a
World
good recent stretch.
Championship.
Yeah. See, that's why I didn't remember it because it's just called the World Champion. I mean, it's World Junior Championship, so I guess it's the same thing. But yeah, I did not remember the name of it. Sorry, fake fan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pasta.
Speaking of pasta, the Bruins are going to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the 2026 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Raymond James Stadium.
Tampa Bay, Florida. Boy,
So that one is
that'll be something.
like we talked about. Well, I guess we'll get to it in a second. The Florida Panthers outdoor game, but that has a potential to put a roof on it. But this, I'm guessing, does not.
I don't
So,
think
so
so.
weather pending. If it's raining, that should get
Yeah,
interesting.
they didn't have details yet for what time of day the games are going to be played at. So we'll see if they're both nighttime games. I would expect that they would be, or at least one of them. Probably the Tampa game would be nighttime. So we'll see. We'll get more information on that. So that one's in March or February.
All right, so let's see. Pull up the article. They're gonna have
Yeah, we'll pull it
yeah,
up.
you're gonna have Panthers Rangers in the 2026 Discover NHL Winter Classic at Lone Depot Park in Miami. That's gonna be January 2nd. They're not even they went from New Year's Eve. Now they're going the day after New Year's Day.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Two
then one
two in the
notable
same
year,
year, and then one on the second. Like they're all over the
Lightning
place.
will host the Bruins on February 1st.
February 1st. Okay, yep. So Bruins get another outdoor game, and the
Another
Rangers.
jersey, yay!
Yeah, the Rangers get another one too. So I actually didn't realize this, but the Rangers are 5-0 in outdoor games. Meanwhile, the Blackhawks are 0-5, which is or 0-5 in Winter Classics. I think they
They
won
did win,
one in the
yeah,
Stadium Series.
I think so. It's
Um,
whatever. I guess unless they played a Heritage Classic, that's only Canadian teams, right?
well, the Sabres did play in one against Toronto a couple years
Yeah, that
ago,
basically can.
but yeah, that's the only. I think they're the only American team that's played in the Heritage Classic. So we haven't gotten an announcement on if we're going to get another one of those next year, because we're
Yeah.
not getting one this year. But anyways,
Well,
two
also
two games in Florida.
on the topic of Winter Classics, the ratings came out for the one we just had, and shockingly, not a lot of people wanted to watch one of the worst teams play a team that fans of like one small city enjoy watching.
Yeah, yeah. Not. I'm not surprised. The hockey guy had a whole video about viewership of the Winter Classic and how it's not really as much of a spectacle as it used to be because there are a lot of other leagues and a lot of other events where there are opportunities to watch outdoor games. The AHL has done outdoor games. Some of the junior leagues have done it. Um, so yeah, it's not as big, and the team like the matchups sometimes what they've picked have not been like the most desirable for a majority of fans. They don't make the game be on its own day. They don't have its like designated time slot, which I think is a big factor. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Florida versus New York matchup next year is not gonna do very well because it's like, oh geez, are we really gonna want to see like hockey in Florida? It's gonna be like really sloppy. I mean,
Mm.
I think that they might be able to do a good job, and like I'm happy for Panthers fans and Lightning fans because this is your only chance probably.
You
Uh,
gotta do it now while Florida's actually good and like
yeah, yeah,
they're
absolutely.
like at the peak of fandom
This is the most exciting the
popularity.
franchise has ever been. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, and another another franchise to knock off the list of never playing outdoors, because Columbus is going to be playing in the Stadium Series this year, and then Florida will have their first game. So it'll just be Utah left that has never played in one. That's cool. So we'll see how the league does with these. They might get a little ridiculed by other leagues that don't really know much about it, but I think that they can do a good job. I think Panthers and Lightning and Bruins and Rangers fans that live in those areas will go and watch the games. Like it's usually about the the ticket prices at the actual event rather than the national ratings that they're most concerned about with these games because
Yeah.
you can charge a premium for the outdoor games and you sell way more tickets.
And I mean, the games are for being there live is like all the presentations and stuff like that. Like what I've heard is like on TV is like
Concerts.
whatever, but going there, anyone who's ever gone, I've heard like it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really what the league is concerned with the most. Maybe they'd still like the TV ratings to be up. Um, and I think there was a little bit of criticism about the matchups. A lot of people were like, "Why didn't you just do Florida versus Tampa?" Because I think that would be fun. Or I think you were saying, Dean, Florida versus Boston, and
It's been so much
Tampa
better.
versus the Rangers would be good too. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It just happens that way, but
Well, like I don't know why, but I feel like um Tampa versus like Carolina.
yeah, that could be good. Um, they have
Or
definitely had
just
some
why
good
do two in the
series.
same year? Just do your big Winter Classic, Florida, Tampa, and just like then you get all the local fans. Like I don't know. I feel like they've tried to do that too, where it's when you have a Winter Classic, it's like within distance of both fan bases.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they have had a lot of matchups that are like that. Like, yeah, Boston versus the Rangers and um, some of the New York teams going against each other. The Stadium Series, they had the Ducks versus the Kings. Um, but they don't. It doesn't always happen that way. Like Dallas and uh, what was it? Tampa played against each other a couple of years ago, and you never know.
Hmm.
That was in Dallas too. So that one was probably people were also questioning that one a little bit too, on how outdoor hockey was going to work in Texas, but I think it worked out okay. So I'm gonna choose to believe. It's more fun that way.
Well, I'm looking, so I'm watching the Bruins, not the Bruins, the Boston Fleet game right now.
Hmm.
They're playing the Minnesota Frost, not the Charge.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a funny graphic.
during a little typo during the Neston game last night, and Andy Brickley just read off the script. It was like the Boston Fleet will play the Minnesota Charge. I'm like, wait, so are they playing the Minnesota Fleet or the Ottawa Charge? But
You mean
they're playing
Minnesota
in.
Frost, Dean?
Mi-
You just
What did
said
I say?
Minnesota Fleet.
Ah, I can't keep these names together. No one can apparently. Um, but it looks like Minnesota is playing in the Wild Arena.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah,
like, is
Minnesota
are all the
does play
they
there.
do their game? Okay, because I
That's
know
their home
obviously
stadium.
the Fleet don't, and I don't know what other like can't the Canada team, none of those teams do. Is it just
No,
Minnesota?
I think. Well, New York plays in Prudential Center,
Okay.
um, but I think that's it. Because yeah, uh, Toronto plays in Coca-Cola Coliseum. Montreal plays in Place. Oh, do they play? No, they don't play in Bell Center. I think they play in Place Bell or something like that. And Ottawa plays in TD Place. So yeah, I think those are the only two. But it's pretty cool. They are doing uh, their tour right now. So they just played. They just had the Fleet versus the Victoire in Seattle the other night. Jessica Campbell drops the ceremonial puck at the beginning of the game, which was pretty cool to see. And it seems like that did pretty well. And they're where are they now? Vancouver or
I don't know.
Denver? I think.
Denver is, I think, not till March or something.
Oh, okay. They must. I'd imagine they'd be in Vancouver.
Yeah. But speaking about hockey in new places, the NHL might be coming back to Arizona.
Speaking of uh, desert or warm climate hockey.
Yeah, there you go. Um, so the newly elected Maricopa County Board of Supervisors Chair Tom Galvin announces the formation of a committee of political and business leaders to bring the NHL back to Arizona. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman confirmed that he met with Galvin before Christmas via Zoom. Thoughts?
I like it. I I mean, I was obviously upset when the Coyotes left. I've been a big proponent of theirs for the last couple of years.
You knew Bettman wouldn't let this go without
No,
an
and
effort to bring it back.
yeah, and with how long it took for us to get to the point where Utah is now a thing, like there were a lot of efforts by both the league and different ownership groups within the Coyotes organization that that wanted to keep the Coyotes there, but it just never ended up coming to fruition because I mean Morello had a lot of issues with how he handled the arena construction and I mean they never even got that far. Um,
The biggest issue is definitely ownership.
yeah, so now that hurdle is out of the way, I think the state is a lot more willing to bring the NHL back. I don't know. I mean, we haven't heard anything as far as like potential spots for where they would build a new arena. Like we're not there yet. I don't think. But I think the state, and obviously the county, Maricopa County, is more inclined now with the new leadership. I think the league, like Gary Bettman, is still interested in having that franchise there. I think the Coyote name and the logo are definitely still very sought after and would definitely bring in more revenue for the league. So,
Well, do we know if the Coyotes name is still owned? Because after Borello left,
he
like, 'cause Utah didn't take it, obviously.
no,
They
he had the
own-
rights. I think I can't remember if he did end up recently selling any of the rights. I want to say no, but
He relinquished his rights to reactivate the franchise within 5 years.
yeah, I think he kind of just stepped away.
Yeah, I think they returned the branding and naming rights to the NHL. So I guess the NHL owns them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're an inactive franchise right now, which is controlled by the league.
Yeah, so because Utah doesn't have like the history or the stats, like that didn't carry over either.
No history. I don't remember. I think, well, I don't know if they've come out and said what the original Winnipeg Jets history, like where that ends
That
up.
doesn't count. I think Thrashers are separate. Well, no, I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's the current Winnipeg Jets is a different franchise, but it's like just Winnipeg the city just get the stats, or is it kind of just like buried and like I don't know how that works, but yeah, so that's where the league stands with Arizona, and we've seen inactive franchises before. I was actually in this book that I've been reading, the New York Americans. I think were one of the teams that was put on pause for 1 year to try to gain some players and some funds, and then they came back for one more season, and then they kind of just disbanded after that. So, yeah, there's some precedent. Obviously, that was a long time ago, 100 years ago, but
yeah,
I would be excited to get the Coyotes back eventually. I'm not saying like in one season, because that's not going to happen. Like
right.
3
and,
or 4 years, maybe.
There's been talks about 34 teams in the league, so I don't know if they've ever. Well, I guess they have before, probably done 2 teams in the same year, way back in the day. But I don't know. They probably
They did it in
spaced out a little
2000
bit.
with Columbus and Minnesota.
Yeah.
They did it with Ottawa. Well,
I mean, going
not in
from the
same
original
day,
6,
but-
didn't they just go did they just go straight to 12? Because obviously there was like a while where the Eastern team would play the Western team in the Stanley Cup, and then they would just always obliterate the Western team because they were all expansion teams.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
the winner of the expansion team would play the winner of the original 6.
Yeah, and that's why the Blues went to like 3 straight Cup finals back in the
Got
60s and 70s, and
Yeah.
they got destroyed. The Bruins, the Bobby Orr famous photo from the 1970s final there.
Just funny, like, oh, that was an overtime goal, but it was to win the series 4-0.
4-0. Yeah, it's still fun to win in overtime to win the Stanley Cup, but it's like
Yeah.
they would have been fine.
Hey, I don't, you know.
Yeah, you never know.
Reverse sweeps happen.
It's happened before, so.
And that'd also probably be a famous goal in history, a reverse sweep, Game 7 Blues goal.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool. And then we would have really wanted the Bruins to win in 2019 because get the revenge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Said the Blues got it this time. Oh well.
Lame.
Guess they'll play again in another 40 years.
Yeah.
That added to the lore.
There we go. Blues play in 2065.
2065 Blues Bruins, if they're still around.
Yeah.
Lock it in.
Well, on the topic of big goals, you want to check out my beer league goal from the other night?
Oh yeah, I have. Okay, I've heard a lot of good stuff about this, so I'm
It's
excited
one of
to
my
see.
better goals, but on the well, I obviously had the best view of it, but the video doesn't do it justice. But it's still pretty nice.
When are we gonna get the helmet cam?
Yeah. No one would
VODs?
chirp me if I wore a GoPro in beer league, I'm sure.
No, nobody. Everybody's very respectful.
Yeah. Let me point out where I am as I find myself. There I am. That's me, right there.
I feel like I didn't even see it. I lost you at some point there, though.
All right, let me break it down for you.
Yeah,
All
let's get the
right,
play-by-play.
here's the play-by-play. I wonder if I can do. Well, I'm gonna turn off the audio because it was kind of loud.
It
At
was
least for me.
very choppy and weird.
Yeah, this camera sucks. All right, enter the zone.
Wait,
Here I am with
which
the
one are
punch.
you? You're the far
I'm
one.
I'm the smaller one.
Okay,
I'm right here.
in the dark
Enter the zone.
uniforms.
This is me. Little give and go. Give it back to Doug here. Cut across. He gives it. Try to get a shot on that for a rebound. Goes wide. Get the puck back. I just try to send it all the way across to him. Gets tipped. He gets it back, and he tries to flip it to Chris in the middle, but I don't know what he was trying to do, but gets to me, settle it down, and then I'm like almost at the goal line. There's like all this room up here.
Yeah,
And I get it just over his glove,
top
and you can see
cheese.
top cheese. You can get a frame with the puck.
Yeah, it's. I think that might be tough. Ah, that guy's head is in the way.
Just look right there.
Oh, okay. I was looking on the wrong corner. Oh, there it is. I saw.
There it is. There's
I
the
saw
puck.
it. I saw it. How was the celly? I didn't even see it. Oh, there was nothing.
Just a classic. It's almost like the Bergeron where he does like the little, like yeah, like it's
Let's
just like a
go.
little fist, like let's go.
I've always thought if I was a hockey player or like in the NHL and I scored a big goal, I would do one where I drop my stick in like celebration, kind of like
Hot stick like the Ovi.
not. I wouldn't like make it high. I would just be like, yeah, like I would
Yeah.
just chuck it down and chuck
I
it
don't know.
down and
I think
excited.
I just like it's almost like when I used to play Chell. Like when I first started playing, I'd always forget to celebrate. Which is like you're so excited, you just like do whatever. Like I don't know. I don't do anything elaborate. It's just like yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, normally it's not like a prepared thing for most players. It's just like
right.
unlike in football, but
Unlike the Vikings.
yeah, right. It's just like an instinct. Like, yeah, it's just the first thing you think. You're like, that's what your body does. It's
Yeah.
involuntary almost,
Hmm.
at least allegedly. You know.
Yeah. I'm not a big cellier.
Well, now that you got the camera on you, you'll have to be more
Yeah.
conscientious.
There we go. But neither is Bergeron. That's who I model my game after, even though I wear Pasta's number.
Well, it's good to have both those attributes, I think.
There we go. Yeah.
The sniper skills of Pasta with the two-way mindedness of Bergeron.
Still got to work on my face-offs if I want to be more like Bergeron.
Hmm. Yeah, those are tough.
Yeah, you would know.
I've heard. I've heard they're very tough.
The only other thing I put was this Spin Chicklets video of this Flyers fan just walking down to a Canadian or a Maple Leafs
Oh
fan.
yeah.
He just starts punching him in the face. I'm like what?
Just starts like going at like they don't even they're so
God, what are
confused.
you
Like
doing?
what's happening? Yeah, the Flyers did lose that game, and I've actually been to Philly and seen that exact same matchup before. But I was not rooting for the Leafs. Luckily, apparently.
Yeah.
Glad nobody in my party was rocking Leafs jerseys. The
Is
Leafs
anyone rooting
won
for the?
that
Have we
game too.
talked about this? Is anyone rooting for the Leafs when we go?
Nobody is. No.
It's all Ottawa.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
I feel
Nice.
like, yeah, I can't see Gifford or Sandroni rooting for the Leafs over the Sens.
Yeah.
So
We're getting closer.
I
2
know.
months and 1 week.
I am really looking forward to it. It'll be fun. We'll have to I'll have to work on my vlog skills because I'm only gonna get
Well,
one like shot to
we're just gonna tell everyone to film
yeah,
everything, and then
yeah.
we'll just have all the angles. We'll have me filming you, filming Owen, filming himself.
As long as we get some decent B-roll that we can use and just like
Yeah, you
yeah,
gotta like, I'll
have a good
film
time.
me taking off from my flight. Well, I never have a window seat though, but we'll figure it out. Owen and I are flying, um, I think back together. One of our flights. Oh no, because he's flying through Denver too. So I think our flight's together, and I have the aisle seat, and he has the window seat.
Oh,
So someone's gonna be stuck between us. Maybe one of us will switch. I don't know.
like
I'm not sitting in the middle. I'm not paying for a middle seat.
yeah, yeah. I guess that's fair. Well, I'm looking forward to it. We still got a couple months to go. We'll
And
see
then,
if I make it to it like a random game in between there or not. I was also
yeah.
thinking about going to Utica just to see the new boards. I feel like that
Oh
would
yeah.
be fun
Yeah, that's not
to
too
see
far
those
for
in
you.
person. Yeah, that's a much more reasonable drive for me than Toronto
And you
or
don't have
Detroit.
any other NHL games planned this year, right? You had the
Not
one maybe with Owen, but that sounds like it's not happening.
that's a no go on that one. I
Yeah.
think so. I don't have anything else planned as of right now. I did mention earlier in the year that I was like, maybe I could just go to Winnipeg for one game because it seems like they're having a really fun year, and I think
You
they
haven't
need
been
some
to
love.
a playoff game yet, have you?
I have not. I was thinking about the whiteout. I was like, man, that would be
That
cool.
was sweet.
I do have some white Winnipeg jerseys too that I could wear, so
Yeah.
that would be really cool. Unless they were playing Vegas, then there's nothing I can do. But I don't think. I mean, I feel like it would have to be at least a second round matchup
hmm
this season, unlike last year or sorry, 2 years ago where we played them in the first round. But I think both of these teams are gonna either win their division or get very close to it.
End of the second, Blackhawks are up 2-1 against the Avs.
Keep it up, boys. I'm
Just
not
about
an
end of the
Avs fan,
second,
so
the Caps are up 1-0 on the Canucks. Caps have 10 shots. Canucks have 20.
oh, they got a power play right now too.
No Ovi goal yet.
Hmm.
All right, Ovi
I'm
update. Does he get it this year? Break the record?
I'm still gonna say yes.
Still believing. I'm still
Yep.
gonna not believe just because.
Well, there you go. No update for you.
Yeah,
We still feel the same way that we felt at the beginning of the
but I guess
season.
the injury technically helped me, but he's still like he hasn't slowed down. So
Yeah, no, he really hasn't. I mean, he didn't factor in on the one goal tonight, but it's
yeah.
still early, so who knows?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all I got.
Alrighty, good stuff. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We've got our whole subscribe thing at the card at the end now, but
We've got lots of NHL commercials in the description, if Brendan remembers.
I will do my best to remember to put those in there if you're curious about those
If not,
that we
comment and
watch.
we'll then update it.
Yeah, it will be no trouble at all. So uh, we are again pushing for 100/1,000 subscribers by the end of the regular season. I think we're at like 62 or something right now. So
61.
okay, well, still pretty
Did we
good.
lose one?
Maybe we did. Um, hopefully we don't lose anymore. Oh, hey, the Canucks just scored on the power play.
Oh, wow.
Tied up. Anyways, that's this. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you guys real soon.
Yeah. Gifford, you know the Screaming Cowboy? Can you make that Pasternak? Just for reasons.
We're gonna need that by Saturday.